Does this mean we get to shave now? You can do whatever you want. I'm gonna shave it live on the podcast tomorrow. That's gross, but I love that journey for you.
Let's go!
Give me what I want!
Kick down the door!
Drew, you are not doing this!
What?
Not nice! There's a giant head!
You hear yourself?
I made like 2,000 of these. I'd like to have fun. With you, wherever you are, welcome to LFR. I don't care that they lost, buddy. You're always a victory puppy in my book. I can never give you enough of these. I really can't. I can't. Come here, I love you. Why don't any of the things that I love me back? What do you say when you don't know what to say? Leafs lose 3-2 in overtime in the 5th game of their second round series against the Florida Panthers, and they are eliminated from the Stanley Cup Playoffs of 2023. I'm going to do a read, and then I'm going to pour my guts out. Get in on playoff action with who? With who? Someone else, I guess. And make your next bet with Sports Interaction. Now it's round 2, and with Toronto and Edmonton moving on, the excitement is as high as ever. We need to change that. With competitive odds, the best live in play, and more ways to get into the game than ever, visit sportsinteraction.com/SDPN and download the Sports Interaction app, but only if you're 19 plus. Please play responsibly. All right, well, here we are at the annual postmortem, the annual eulogy for this hockey team that is the Toronto Maple Leafs. Before I really get into the nitty-gritty of this game and this series and this playoff run and what this means going forward, I would like to go on a selfish rant for a minute, because there are people out there who think I like that the Leafs lose because I get more views that way. It is true that when the Leafs lose, those videos tend to get more views than if they win. But can I show you something? This is the last 28 days on my YouTube channel. Over 2.5 million views. And you know what? The losses got more views than the wins, but all of them got over 100,000. 11 straight videos hit over 100,000 views. My previous record was like 4 consecutive. This one's gonna be up there because you sickos are watching this. I need them to still be in the playoffs. It is good for my bank account. It is good for my heart. It is good for my head. I bet it's even good for my skin. Look at that. Look at that. That is the skin of someone whose team just lost. Does it look like I am glowing? Does it look like I am thriving? No, because they lost and I wanted them to win and they didn't do that. So this video is going to get a ton of views, and then the valve is going to shut off because their season is done, and that's bad. All right, let's talk about this because this game perfectly relates to this series, which perfectly relates to this team. The Leafs went down 2-0 against the Florida Panthers on home ice. The Leafs had home ice advantage in the Tampa series and in the Florida Panthers series going into it. And they won 1 game at home, all playoff long. Game 2 against the Lightning. Wasn't that in April? Was that April technically? It's May 13th. May 12th was the day of the last game. I'm just shooting this at 12:30 is basically when I started. They won 1 game on home ice. They went 1-5. 1-5. How do they make it to the second round at all? 1-5? You're on home ice. You don't do so well. You handle a 3-on-2 real poorly. That goes in. Panthers get another one. They had a power play goal in there. Irresponsible penalty. All right. Now you're down 0-2. You need a miracle, right, to erase a 2-goal deficit here. And that might not sound like a miracle to you, and maybe it's not a miracle, but it makes your life so much harder having to come back from a 2-goal deficit, because I'm going to let you in on a secret about hockey. Most teams aren't able to do that. Less than half of the time even, they're able to do that. So the Leafs need to come back in this series The Leafs need to come back in this game in order to come back in this series in order to make up ground on their reputation and their lack of achievements from previous years. They ran out of miracles in this one. And it was fun while it lasted, and maybe I'm getting too deep into the eulogy part before I even finish talking about the game. They simply ran out of miracles. If we can just erase a 2-goal deficit in an elimination game on home ice, we shouldn't even have a 2-goal deficit. If we can just do a thing that only 4 teams in NHL history have done, and that's erase a 3-0 deficit in the Stanley Cup Playoffs. No one's done it since 2014. If we can just make it to the Final Four, then maybe we can prove to ownership, because it is well out of Keefe's, out of Dubas's, and out of Shanahan's hands. If we can prove to ownership that yes, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 were all incredibly disappointing, guess what? Here we are. Trust the process, baby. We're here. The first round series win, you rely on a last-minute comeback in Game 3. You rely on a 4-1 comeback in Game 4. And the reason that's notable is you're not supposed to come back from a 4-1 deficit. Wish I could mail that 10 years into the past and let them know. But I can't. And the Leafs do their darndest. And I tell you what, they almost pull off the miracle. There were 94 shots in this game. The Leafs had more than half of them. There were over 100 hits. The Leafs had more than half of those too. The Leafs outshot, out-hit, out-chanced the Florida Panthers, big on the deserved win-o-meter. They had one go off of a Panther, Nick Cousins, with his first of the game. Smile. When Joaquin Phoenix did that in the movie, it looked like it hurt. Right? Like, yeah, no, I didn't like that. I'm not going to do that again. You're right. Morgan Rielly gets that. He's been so good, so clutch in these playoffs. He had 4 goals in, 11 games in these playoffs? 6 and then 5? Yeah, that's 11. How many did he have in the regular season? I think it was 4. So he gets one. Less than 5 minutes to go in the entire game. Oh, boy. I skipped over something big, didn't I? Let's go back, beep, beep. The second Rielly goal that was called back. For the second straight year, the Toronto Maple Leafs have a goal called back on home ice in an elimination game. The Justin Hall pick penalty is annoying for many reasons, and it's very subjective. And I think that makes it a more annoying conversation. The Morgan Rielly second goal that was called back, and Leaf fans are not going to want to hear this from me, but you're here for my thoughts, and this is what I got. Do I think, in my heart of hearts, that puck crossed the line? Yes. Yes, I do think that puck crossed the line. I really do. I think it crossed the line before play stopped. I think it crossed the line. The call on the ice was no goal. No one in the world can fault an official for not being able... You couldn't see the puck. It was under Bobrovsky's pad. They had no idea where the thing is. You can't see it. Do I think that the replay conclusively, 100%, beyond the shadow of a doubt, said that the puck crossed the line? No. No, I do not. Do I think it crossed the line? Yes. Can I prove it? No. And if I can't prove it, that means it's no goal. And I've seen all the angles that you've shown me and tweeted at me, and it's been tweeted on the internet. You don't know. You don't know beyond a shadow of a doubt. I've seen views where I'm like, that looks like it's probably in. That's not good enough. And if the shoe was on the other foot and the Panthers, let's say the goal in overtime was under Wool's pad, and the Panthers are celebrating, and they throw their gloves and their helmets everywhere. Could I say, beyond a shadow of a doubt, the Leafs season should end that way because we know conclusively that that's a goal? No. We'd be mad, and we'd be right. Do I think this was a goal? I think it was across the line. Can I prove it? No. So the right call is no goal. And that's brutal, and that's frustrating, and gosh, I hope someone ties it so we don't have to talk about it, and that someone is William Nylander. TJ Brody gets it to John Tavares, who again had a good game and showed up in a big moment. Just a beautiful little feather of a pass to William Nylander. He's trying to beat Brandon Montour wide, and Montour thinks in his heart of hearts that he's going around, and he is going around. Sergei Bobrovsky, to be specific, lifts it up and over him, and he goes nuts, and the crowd goes nuts, and he's yelling on the bench for the crowd to get more nuts, and we go to overtime. And gosh, it reminds me of other playoff games from series past. The Leafs have a 3-on-2 going one way, and the Panthers play it really well, and they stop the 3-on-2. There were so many chances in this overtime. No idea how it didn't end long before it did, whether it was the Leafs, Yarncroke, Kerfoot, Matthews, The Panthers had a bajillion chances too. It is a miracle. Miracle. This overtime even made it out of the first 5 minutes. But it did. It almost went to double overtime. But the 3-on-2 is stopped. The Panthers turn it up the other way. 2 Leafs fall down. And for the second time in this game, the Leafs fail to stop a 3-on-2 from the Florida Panthers. They don't play it properly. Wool is screened. Radko Gudas screams in his face as Nick Cousins scores to give the Panthers the Game 5 win and the series win. And now Matthew Tkachuk and every goofball can retweet that video of Leaf fans in Maple Leaf Square saying, "We want Florida." We know full well that there's also a video of those very same fans saying, "We want Boston," which is way more psychotic, by the way. It is way more insane that Leaf fans would chant, "We want Boston." The 65-win President's Trophy winning Boston Bruins, because when that happened, we didn't know if it would be Boston or Florida. It's way crazier for Leaf fans to want welcome a series against the Boston Bruins. Forget the record, forget the President's Trophy, it's Boston! Why on earth would we want it again? 4th time's the charm? But they said, "We want Florida." And everyone is ecstatic. And they're retweeting that, and retweeting the Gudas face, and retweeting every bad Facebook meme that your uncle that you don't really talk to very much has sent out. And listen, if you're here watching this video just to watch a Leaf fan freak out, let me tell you something. Don't too much. You'll get hairy palms, okay? Listen, it's great that you're here. I'm glad you've been watching enough that this registered as a view and everything, but careful. If you do it too much, you'll go blind. Now, Leafs Nation, what do we do? What do we do with this team? I've seen people say run it back. I have. Because they did great things numerically in the playoffs, and they did great things numerically in the regular season. And it just reminds me of that scene from The Office where Michael Scott and Dwight Schrute are driving around in a car, and Michael Scott is following a map or a navigation system or something, and he follows it to a T. He follows what the nav system says no matter what. And even though there's a lake right in front of him, he goes, "Well, the nav system says to keep going," and he drives into the lake. Make no mistake, the Leafs running it back is driving this franchise straight into the lake. Literally, Lake Ontario. Just send the whole Scotiabank Arena, pick up the whole building like it's The Sims, and throw it right into Lake Ontario if you run this thing back. The Leafs' defense, right? Was it good in this game? No. Was it better than Florida's? I don't know. They gave up fewer shots. But was it? Was it better? Liljegren was absolutely shameful. I rooted so hard for this guy. I think he might have been the worst player on the ice, either team. And that's shocking to me. I called him the best right-handed defender on the team with like 15 games to go. Something like that. Cannot believe it. Steve, does that mean you're a Hall guy? He wasn't much better. And here's the thing. With the addition of Luke Schenn, who I hope stays, and the addition of Jake McCabe, who is often disappointing, 2 more years of that. With those additions, and Rielly stepping up his game, and Brody stepping up his game, and the 11-7 setup, many Leaf fans, many pundits, many experts agreed that this is the best Leafs defense they've had in years. And it was. Ilya Samsonov had the best, the best inner slot save percentage or high danger save percentage in the NHL. A lot of that has to do with how good the guys were in front of him. And if this is the best we can do, then that means blow it up. Steve, when people talk about blow it up, they're talking about the core 4. What are you talking about? What does that have to do with that? The core 4 takes up too much of the hard cap, the hard salary cap that this team cannot adequately fill out the rest of its roster. It can't. It can't and it won't. Matthews, 11.634. Good thing we got the 3-4 in there. Yeah, you needed that extra 34 grand. It wouldn't have helped the team out to have that flexibility. Mitch, I'm looking at you too. 10.93. Yeah. Some guy has to get sent down to the Marlies and got to play without a goalie. Yeah. Whoa, Steve, what are you mad at them for? They scored most of the points. That's the job! That's the job. That's what the money is for. They were great in the first round. What about the second? Mitch was the best player on the ice. Best player on the ice in Game 4. And honestly, I thought he was good in Game 5 as well. It's not enough. Willie, best value, makes under $7 million. That dude hits the open market. You know, he makes more than that, but he signed to a deal that pays him less than that. That means he's got high trade value. It also means they should probably keep him. Can they? Can they afford to keep a good value contract with the other guys? JT, we can't even humor the conversation. We can't. $11 million? He was good for a lot of moments in these playoffs. Was he $11 million good? I don't know. We'll always have that moment, that beautiful, shining moment, and we'll get to that beautiful, shining moment with Tampa. Willie, since we're on the subject, makes less than Morgan Rielly, and he's part of that core. I think he played his way into staying. 4 goals in 11 games. But has anyone played their way into staying? Keefe got demolished, I thought, by Paul Maurice and by John Cooper, even though they won that series. Keefe is Dubas's guy. Dubas, for better or worse, went down with his guys. In Game 4, Justin Hall played more than any defender on the ice. Yes, that's Keefe, but Keefe is Dubas's guy. The core 4, that's Dubas's core. He put it together and kept it together. We can and we will. He's going down with the ship, no matter what. And at the top of it all, Brendan Shanahan, who's been here longer than Dubas was even assistant general manager. Brendan Shanahan has been here so long that he signed, one of the first things he did was re-sign Randy Carlyle. That's one of the first things the Leafs did with Brendan Shanahan at the helm. That's how long he's been here. And Dubas was his guy. And the way that Dubas stuck with all of his guys, Shanahan stuck with his. When we talk about the fact that Dubas doesn't have a contract going forward, we're not having a broad enough conversation. If Shanahan is gone, hard to see Dubas coming back. What do we think? He's going to get promoted to president after one series win? Who knows? That could end up being the right decision, but I don't think they're going to do it, and I don't think a lot of people are going to have the stomach for it. And Dubas hired huge swaths of this organization. The scouts, the analytics department. What happens to all of those things? The sports science. What happens to all of that? Brandon Pridham, the capologist, who has had to perform miracles, straight up miracles, over the last few years. What happens to him? And what happens to Austin Matthews, the cornerstone of this franchise, who was not able to produce in this series? The Leafs can start to negotiate with him starting July 1st. Because after July 1st, we go into the final year of Austin Matthews' contract. Again, I really don't think we're thinking big enough here. When we talk about blowing it up, they might blow it up. I'm not here necessarily to tell you I think it's a good idea to humor the idea of trading Austin Matthews. I'm here to tell you they have to. They have to at least humor the idea. They have to at least consider the possibility. Because if they're not able to extend him, if the GM who's been talking to him for all these years is not able to extend him, and the next guy is not able to extend him, and if Matthews doesn't even want to come back because I'm a superstar, gosh darn it, I'm wasting my career here, losing series after series after series, and winning 5 games out of 16. That's the progress. Going from 3 wins to 5. You need 16 to win the Stanley Cup. 16. They're not close. And progress isn't linear. So they win 5 this year, might be 16 next year, might be 2. Might be 1, just like in this series. You don't know. You don't have a crystal ball. And Dubas pulled out all the stops. Ryan O'Reilly is a Leaf. Noel Acciari, Jake McCabe, Sam Lafferty was great in this series. Luke Schenn, that was a fever dream. Gustafsson in, Sandin's gone. Engvall's gone. We don't have a starting goaltender next year. If you go with the goalie with the highest cap hit, it's Matt Murray. Then there's Joseph Woll. Ilya Samsonov is a restricted free agent, thank goodness. When we talk about the potential to blow it up, there's enormous potential to change every aspect of this organization. The core, you have to explore blowing it up. Mitch Marner's no trade, no move, kicks in July 1st. Well, Steve, no, we gotta, if we're gonna keep anyone, I gotta keep Matthews. Okay, well then you gotta at least explore the idea of Marner being gone. Tavares, I highly doubt he has the appetite to go anywhere. Willie, I don't see how you win that trade in any way, shape, or form. Do you consider trading Morgan Rielly? You just got Jake McCabe and Sam Lafferty. Do either of those guys stay? Matt Murray, I think you send to the friggin' moon. The coach might be gone, the AGM might be gone, the GM might be gone, and the president might be gone. This is going to be a busy offseason. And it's such a shame for how it ended. And this quote from Sheldon Keefe did not make me feel any better.
We had a great regular season, and we found our way through the first round and beat a very, very good Tampa team. So I think there's a lot to like about that season, or this season, I should say. Yet, this one stings. Well, we believe we had a team good enough to win the Stanley Cup, and we didn't do that.
And with that, producer Drew pointed this out as well. I think Sheldon Keefe just wrote himself his walking papers. This team was good enough to win the cup. Why didn't they? Why didn't they make it to the second round even? If a team is good enough to win the cup, and they didn't, someone's the problem here. Did the coach have a cup-worthy team underperform? It's that, or they are just straight up not a cup-worthy team. I think it's probably closer to that they're just not a cup-worthy team. Now, they were worthy of winning a series. They were worthy of winning a series. And I think it's important to enjoy that. I know I've been mad throughout this video, and it's because, they're going to blow this thing to smithereens, dude. It's going to be rough. It's going to be bad, and I'll talk about it on this YouTube channel. I'll talk about it on the podcast. It's going to be rough. And if they run it back, it's going to be even more rough because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again. But to finally win a series for the first time since 2004, some of you weren't even alive. Or you were in diapers. You don't remember it. Your parents might have been in high school. I don't know. It's a long time ago. Finally winning and doing it against the team that beat you last year was one of the greatest joys, one of the greatest surprises of my career. And I say surprise because there have been so many times over the years where they should have done it. They could have done it, and they didn't do it. When that puck finally went in, I almost fainted live on stream. I scarcely knew what to say. I scarcely knew what happened. But they finally did it. And they erased the demons of 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. 2013 you can lump in there as well. By winning a series finally. And you can guilt-free look back on that series win with reverence. A record-setting 3 overtime road wins in a series. You can look back on all of that with joy. But looking forward, it was too little, too late. Leafs win that series in 2019 and then get worked in the second round. We keep it together. We keep the team together. I mean, for goodness sakes, they lost that series and they kept them together. But if they lose any of the series that came before this year, I think the core stays together. And you'd be justified in doing it. Make some changes around it all, I'm sure. But they stay together. They used up their miracles. It was too little too late. They needed a miracle to come back in Game 5. And the miracle wasn't completed. They needed a miracle to come back in this series And Sheldon Keefe said it himself. They lost the series after 3 games. There's another gem of a quote there, Sheldon. It's funny. It really did feel like after they beat Tampa, oh, everything is forgiven. It's the show must go on. Everyone's going to stay. And what I said during that video, talking about that Game 6 win over Tampa, was they're only a quarter of the way there. And I think as Leaf fans, we spent so much time thinking about this bloody curse and how are they ever going to be able to win a series, that once they finally did it, stupid camera, once they finally did it and the Leafs got a taste of the second round and this fan base got a taste of the second round, we remembered what it's like to have a team competing for the Stanley Cup. This morning, there were only 7 teams eligible for the Stanley Cup, and the Leafs were one of them. And it was a great feeling. And every day that the Leafs were still in the playoffs, even though they were down 3-0 and they won to make it 3-1, every day that the Leafs were still in the playoffs was a joy. And it didn't always feel like that. For me, I can at least say personally, the playoffs they'd be around the corner and the anxiety would build and then they would finally show up and then they'd lose their first game and it would get even worse. I felt awful after the Leafs lost Game 1 against Tampa and they lost it 7-3 and had no pushback at the end of the game. I thought, here we go again. Again. And you fill with dread because you don't know how to say the same things over and over and over again. And then they finally did it. And every day they were there, get to come on this channel, have a lot of fun, get to do the podcast 3 days a week after the day after every game. It was a lot of fun, and we're going to do that again tomorrow. You look forward to every morning because there's something new and fun. And they're still in it. They might do it. You allow yourself to think the silliest thoughts. Hang out with Carlton the Bear at the Stanley Cup parade. And he's going to bring it to your house and you're going to sing, "We are the champions." And you share a beer with, I don't know, Tavares or a kombucha drink or something. Because he's like, "I'm really proud of you, Steve." And you're like, "I'm really proud of you too, John." And you celebrate the cup win together. But it wasn't to be. They ran out of miracles, and this team has run out of chances. Last year's end-of-season video was called The Fog. It's about to clear up. And when it does, a lot of the people on this team and running this team will be gone. I got a lot more to say on this. And we'll say that on tomorrow's edition of the Steve Dangle podcast on SDPN, on the SDPN YouTube channel, Spotify, Apple Music, everywhere you listen to podcasts. With this being the last LFR of the season, the first season that we've done a second round LFR, and we got to do a second round win, even if it was only one of them, I want to thank you for watching. Whether you're a hardcore Leaf fan who's been there the whole step of the way, whether you're just an outside observer, I know there's lots of you too, who enjoys watching these videos for whatever reason, thank you. And if you're one of those sickos who just likes watching me when I'm sad and my team's been eliminated, thank you too. Whatever, man. Whatever helps. I'm happy to help get you through the day. You know, life's hard enough. Did I make it a little easier? Was the Schadenfreude good? I hope it was good. I hate doing the last LFR of the season. I hate it. I hate it. But this is it. It's over. The Panthers go on to the Eastern Conference Final to take on the Carolina Hurricanes. And kudos to the Panthers. Barely made the playoffs. Knock off the Bruins. Come back from a 3-1 deficit in that series. Come back and end it in Boston. And then you dummy the Leafs. Just dummy them. I know the numbers look kinder on the Leafs and less favorably on the Panthers. That's how the Panthers play. That's how the Panthers play. I don't think you were watching if you watch that series and you're like, oh, if we play that again, the Leafs will win it. I just don't think that's how it works, man. Give these Panthers their due. The Carolina Hurricanes, this is not going to be fun. This is not going to be fun at all for that hockey team. They might win. It's not going to be fun. Whatever happens next, I'll be right here. That is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. The fog is about to lift. Now I'll leave you with a little montage that producer Drew put together. We're going to do a best of LFR video a little later, a few days from now. I'm not sure exactly when, but this is what producer Drew has so far. And I want to send a special thank you to producer Drew and also producer Nick, who has helped with these LFR videos this year. Even though he's an Avalanche fan, he does a great job with these. These videos wouldn't be what they are without Drew. They certainly wouldn't be up night of without Drew, so big thanks to him for that. Also, thanks to Robert Malloy for helping out with the captions and also helping out with the TikToks, and the same goes for Yams, Jameson Biddle, for doing a great job with those as well. There's a team. There's a whole team. And everyone pulls their weight, does their job. You'll be back. This core will be back. Are you ready? I'm ready. Go off, Daddy! Thank you for that. Actually, no, thank you. I'm far less ready. Get out! And now we play a game that we often play as National Hockey League fans. What's that rule? If you're a goaltender, crane your neck! No, it's not. I don't think it's going to take off. With the oil? No way. I bet the Leafs are going to go out and make a trade, and it's going to be great, and I bet it makes the team even better, and maybe they'll even win the cup. Rielly is your best defenseman, or highest paid defenseman, highest scoring defenseman. Liljegren. You put him with Liljegren. Who's better, Hull or Liljegren? Liljegren. Put Rielly with Liljegren! Sorry, sometimes I raise my voice. Why do we even watch, man? Like, come on! What the frick, man? What the frick?
Microphone's here, so.
You don't tell me how to cook in my kitchen! I can be brown, I can be blue, I can be violet, sky! The Ducks! I hate this. I'm gonna sit down. It's not so easy to move. I will gladly show up to the parade with a Leafs jersey with an LOL wrong nameplate on it. I don't care. Oh, thank goodness. Have they left yet? It's a joke about the snow. There's a bunch of snow coming. We joke about the weather to hide the fact that we're sad that our team lost. They lost! Radio breakfast and eat hearty. For tonight, we dine in hell. Oh yeah, bud. Well, I saw that going differently. You just want them to lose for the views. What are you talking about? This entire YouTube channel has been a 16-year cry for help. Victory, puppy Ziggy. Is there anything better than beating the Jets? Yes. Dogs. Dogs are better than beating the Winnipeg Jets. They're not even in our division. They're not even in our conference. Dogs are better than the Winnipeg Jets. I am in the middle of complimenting you, and you leave? You're showing me your butthole. Drew, I don't know if you can... Except that is on paper, and when it comes to the Toronto Maple Leafs, you can crumple, yeet. We are not losing with the Rock in the building. Oh, it never gets rusty. Leafs win 3-2 over the Washington Capitals. Why? How come? So, that is it for this one. What am I doing?